I was imprisoned for 10 years in a North Korean political prisoner camp. My name is Kang Cholwen. Ask me anything. Hello Reddit, my name is Kang Cholhwan. For 10 years, I was a prisoner at Yorik political prison camp in North Korea. My family and I were sent there after my grandfather was accused of treason by the Kim regime. Since escaping North Korea, I have become a journalist, author, and human rights activist. Currently I'm the executive director of the North Korea Strategy Center, an NGO whose goal is to advocate for free media and press in North Korea. We target North Koreans directly by sending external media such as movies, documentaries, and dramas inside the country, usually through USBs. Do you miss North Korea despite what you endured? And, is there any misconception about North Korea that you would like to share? I dislike the North Korean government, not the people, so yes, I do miss the people there. North Koreans may seem different because they are brainwashed by the government, but once their thoughts change through the flow of information, they are the same as anywhere else. I think it is lamentable that people think of the North Korean government and North Koreans as one entity. North Koreans may seem loyal to the government, but because they fear the government, they cannot speak their minds. For example, Seung-jin Park, the North Korean soccer player during the World Cup, was at the Yorik political prisoners camp with me, but is now acting as a soccer team coach. However, he must hide the fact that he was at the prisoners camp. To learn more about North Korea, you must know something about the nature of North Korea. This is true even when visiting North Korea. What goes on day to day in the jail/concentration camps? Daily life in the work camps is very mundane. We wake up at 5 AM and are forced to work until sunset. We are given lessons on Kim Il-sung and Josh. We are forced to watch public executions. We are physically abused, hit and tortured. I think of it as another form of Auschwitz. These work camps are like products of Nazism, and an abusive government needs elements such as Nazi concentration camps. They just have different ways of killing people. Has anyone gotten in trouble from getting caught with USB sticks? What other items are dropped such as books? I would presume people have almost gotten caught with the USB sticks. Thankfully, they managed to get out before they were caught. However, they cannot go back to North Korea now. But that's about it currently. North Korean citizens often get caught using these USB sticks, but they are released when they give bribes to the police. I believe it would be about $500 maximum in Pyongyang and about $200 to $300 in other regions. The problem would be if they are caught and they have no money to bribe their way out. What is your view on Westerners visiting North Korea as part of a tour and giving money back to the regime? I think that the government does benefit a little bit from the money gained through the tours Westerners take to North Korea. I don't think that it is a bad idea to experience and see North Korea this way. However, currently, foreign visitors are getting arrested by the government and are used as pieces for negotiation, so refraining from visiting North Korea seems wise. I think that the North Korean government are using these tourists as a method of negotiation with foreign governments, i.e. the Canadian pastor and the American student. Because the government is receiving internal and external pressure, they are using these tourists as hostages for negotiation, because they are unstable. So currently, I think it is better to refrain from visiting North Korea. What kept you going? When I was escaping, it was the early stages and there were no set escape routes. It was hard to defect without the help of the South Korean government. I had heard that you could live in places such as Harbin, China. However, I was hopeful that other paths would open. Missionaries came and prayed for us. The heavens helped me, and I was able to board a ship that took me from China to South Korea. Wow, I'm really glad you survived. It's a hard question, but how do you feel about leaving your family behind? How aware are they of the outside world? How aware were you before you fled North Korea? Do you think there is any hope for North Korea to open up in the near 10 to 20 years future? I would have loved to escape with all of my family, but that was physically impossible. I feel sorry for them, but I try to help them as much as I can. Many people who have escaped from North Korea are trying to help their families back there. These days, the North Korean government seems to be contacting the North Korean defectors in order to allure them back to North Korea. Often, while holding the defectors' families still in North Korea as hostages. The degree of exposure to the outside world varies from family to family in North Korea. They can gain exposure through Korean media. For example, I had listened to the radio in secret for more than a year prior to escaping. I knew from it the economic situation in South Korea, and I thought I knew enough. However, when I actually arrived in South Korea, saw it with my own eyes, the economic situation was much different from what I had heard. These days, people watch media more than they listen to radios, and that visual media, I believe, is more powerful. Regarding your question on whether there is any hope for North Korea to open up in the near future, I think it really varies whether Kim Jong-un will still be alive by then. Opening up the country and reform is important for the North Korean people, but all power in North Korea exists for a single individual, Kim Jong-un. In order for the country to open up, there needs to be a change in individual-centered political power. However, I don't think Kim will open up the country like Deng Xiaoping of China had done. However, I think within 5 years, the Kim Jong-un regime will disappear. What is the ultimate endgame here? How does the West need to respond to free the North Korean people? The outside world seems to talk about putting back pressure on the North Korean government, but I don't think they know exactly what kind of pressure is necessary. Economic pressure is not the only type of pressure. People need to learn what the North Korean government fears the most, what they are doing to keep the government afloat. First, the government wants to prevent defection. They fear that, if many people start to defect, a unification similar to the German case will take place. So, they are focused on keeping the border shut. Second, the government wants to prevent North Koreans from having access to outside information. The more North Korean citizens know, the more danger it is for the government. So far, I do not believe we have been targeting either of these. Real pressure on the North Korean government would be to open up the physical border and induce mass defection, or to open up the information barrier and to provide access to outside information. There needs to be a separation of the North Korean citizens from the government. For example, if more North Korean workers work abroad, they are not getting paid by the government, and this eliminates their ties to the government. Do you think the North Korean government would ever go after you, or others like you? Also curious to see if you are a Christian, and if so, did you become one while in North Korea? Thanks so much. I became a Christian after arriving in South Korea. In August 2015, an axe was delivered to my office with a writing saying that, if I don't stop what I'm doing, I will be murdered. The police has been investigating this, and the investigation is coming to a close. In 2012, an assassin sent from North Korea was caught following me and keeping track of my whereabouts. He is facing trial now. Currently, there is a police protecting me 24/7. Although North Korea is threatening me, I cannot stop what I'm doing. I'm upset that, although I have earned freedom, I'm still facing threats. How did you get to your current job, presumably lacking what is considered a proper formal education? There are computers in North Korea now, but were very rare when I was there. English has been very difficult to learn, and I still find it very difficult. South Koreans learn English from an early age, but not in North Korea. I worked at a power company called Hanjin for 3 years. I worked at Chosunilbo, a newspaper in South Korea, for 11 years, and I like to think that I have skills in writing. I think I liked my job as a columnist the best. Using my specialized knowledge, I wrote about North Korea internal situations. I wrote breaking news articles by communicating with my friends in North Korea, and I was able to report on situations hard to know from the outside. For example, I was the first to write about the public execution of Park Nam-gil, the ex-Labour Party secretary responsible for financial planning, after the currency reform failed. This article spread worldwide, and I felt an ecstasy that columnists feel. Defectors have a hard time adjusting to life here, but I think there are occupations that we can use our unique experiences as an advantage. Can you talk more about your efforts to disseminate free media inside North Korea? Does your organization use balloons sent over the DMZ? How far into the country do they travel? Is there ever pushback from the South Korean government because they are afraid your actions will further inflame tensions? We don't use balloons, but I do think they play an important role. The South Korean, of course, tries to stop this method of spreading information because of possible political implications. The main thing about using flyers is to have a press conference about the information on the flyers. These flyers must be spread in secret, but the press conference must be held officially with many people and also have interviews. This is more stimulating for North Korea. Only the people near the DMZ have access to these flyers, unless the wind takes them further inland. We use movies, videos send the market to spread information. This way, information can be spread all over North Korea. I believe this to be the greatest method of changing the way North Koreans think. Spreading information through media is very important.